Are you wanting to research in the United Kingdom, but you really don't know where to begin and whether or not you're really ready to research there? If you're researching in another country, you're from another country, maybe Australia or the United States. Are you really ready to go to the UK? If you do go over there, how do you start? And what are some of the best record sets to help you find your family and develop your family tree in the United Kingdom? I have Darris Williams here with me from FamilySearch, and he runs the wiki pages, but this guy's been a professional genealogist for longer than me, and that's a long time. So he knows, I've learned so much from him. He knows so much, and he specializes in the UK, specifically in England, correct?
England and Wales.
Okay. So today we're going to talk about those three things. We're going to talk about, are you ready? And what are your first steps? What's going to help you do good research over there and help you educate yourself on what you ought to be doing? And then what are some of the best places to go to get the records that you need to find your family over there? So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, so what are the things that we need to be cautious of? Because I tell people, I specialize in US research, so a lot of my videos are oriented more towards that. And I keep telling people, be careful, especially in Ireland, I talk about this a lot, you're on Ancestry, you find your family, they're from Ireland, but you have no idea where they're from in Ireland. And then you see their name and you're like, that's them. But with naming patterns and things like that, it's so easy to grab the wrong guy, run down the wrong rabbit hole, and now you're researching a family that has nothing to do with you. And so whenever I am starting in a new location like that, particularly a new country, I always want to be extra careful. Tell me more about what you feel like is really important, in that regarding before you really even begin. What do you need to know?
It's really important to build a good foundation, and so having as many records as possible pointing in that direction is helpful. The time period, maybe you won't be able to get as many as you would like, but there's plenty of things in the US that'll give an indication of where someone came from. So having solid information about that and more than one piece of more than one record that helps verify it is critical, so that you're not starting out with one family thinking that's yours and then you find out, by the way, they're not from Northern Ireland, they're from the South, they're from Cork. And so you just want to be really careful. So common names really throw a wrench in the works. The lack of information that we get from some records, but there's usually something out there. There are different ways you can work around it, but get as much information as possible.
Okay. And I would imagine, too, that if you can narrow down, rather than just England, if you can narrow down the locale, that's going to be huge, correct?
It is, yeah. You really have to at least know the county. If you know the county, then there's some searches you can do and be fairly effective. If you don't have a county, it doesn't matter if it's Scotland, England, Wales,
even the United States, same problem, right? We have that same problem.
So you definitely need a county. Once you have a county, then you can use tools that are available online, such as the census, which is indexed really well on most of the major websites. You can use that to try to pinpoint those families. It's a good finding tool. And once you get them in the census, then you'll want to spread out and expand your search to church records, vital records like birth, marriage, and death certificates that the government started recording after a certain time period. So once you have a new place to go, you need to have at least a general idea of records available for different time periods.
And how do you get that? How can you know what records are available in different time periods?
So the FamilySearch wiki is probably the best place to go for that. There are other sources. Genealogy in the UK and Ireland is a series of websites for the British Isles that will help with that. But in general, 1841, 1837 is a general time period when civil records started being recorded a lot more, like birth, marriage, and death certificates recorded by the government. So about that time period, you can expect to get more and better records.
And one of the things too that I want to add in, when we're looking at census records, as you're talking about gathering as much information, if you can find out through the records that you located like in the US or Australia or wherever, the name of a parent or the name of siblings or anything like that, that can help you then move into those census records and know, oh, I do have the right family because everything's lining up.
Yeah, I was looking for a Julia Colt, came from Essex. I couldn't find her in indexes, I couldn't find her birth certificate. I looked for her siblings. Frederick Colt was not near as common, and just opened it right up.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. All right, so you feel like you're ready to go. What are some of the first things that you mentioned the wiki pages for FamilySearch. And by the way, I've got a video on the wiki pages for FamilySearch, so you want to check that out. I'll put a link to that at the end of this video because they're amazing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to visit the wiki pages. But what are some of the other tools? I mean, really, you've got to visit the wiki pages. They're professional genealogist secrets because any professional genealogist lives in the wiki pages. They're just so helpful. And I run into so many genealogists, particularly beginning or intermediate genealogists even, that don't know about the wiki pages and they're missing out tremendously. So catch that video after this one. But all right, so enough preaching. So what are some of the other things that you can do to understand what you need to be doing, what you might find?
Really the best place is on the wiki in a subset of the wiki that we call guided research. So from the home page of the wiki, there's a link to guided research. We've set it up so that if you're looking for birth, marriage, or death information, that's basically all the page shows you for that place. So if you go to England and you're looking for birth, marriage, and death information and you have that county name, you can go to the county and that will give you the best place to start your search, whether it's birth, marriage, or death. If that doesn't work, and that's the best place on the internet. We've looked, we've evaluated, is it better on this website or this website? We'll tell you this is the best place to start. But if that doesn't work, then there are problem-solving tips and other sites that you can use for the same type of search.
So the guided research will take you through that process then?
Yeah.
Okay, and FYI, we did a video on that too. Look for that video at the end of this one because the guided research is really a pretty cool thing that a lot of people don't know about as well.
Yeah.
All right, so you've done your guided research, you've been directed to different places, you're starting your research, we've talked about being ready, we've talked about the things that you can do to kind of understand the area better and the record sets that you may find there. Now, what are some of your favorite places to go? What are some of your favorites as you're researching in the UK?
There's so many things, and it varies from area to area. But one of the things that I love is having a good map. And
that's true.
The National Library of Scotland has an excellent set of maps. The wiki links to those. Other sites will link to it a lot, but that's usually one of the best things to do is get some really good maps for the area. You need to see where your county is within the country. How close is it to London or Birmingham? And you need to see what parishes are in that county.
Within the county. That's super important because a lot of those records are held in the parish level.
Yeah, before 1837, virtually all of the records will be at the parish level. So you need a map showing the parishes. It's also really helpful to see a map that shows the topographical features.
Good
just
point.
Seeing a topographical map, you can actually see the farms and the farm names in many cases, especially in Wales. And if you get the best scale is the 6-inch to the mile scale map from the Ordnance Survey. That'll show a lot of features that will give you a better idea of where your ancestor lived.
What it was like around them.
What it was like. If you get a larger scale, like a 10-inch or 25-inch to a mile, it shows the rocks and trees.
Wow, crazy.
So it's just wild what you can see on some of these old maps, and it changes your view. The other thing that I love is to learn about how they lived, and there's so much information available to read, to view about how people lived in that time period. But on the wiki, we've got a page for every country in the world labeled social life and customs.
Oh, and that just really gives you the meat, right?
Yeah.
Well, what are some of the other places that, obviously FamilySearch has a lot of records that we could find there, and you can find those in the catalog or on the wiki pages. That's a great place to go. To go to the catalog, you just go up to the very top, and you'll see the catalog there, and then you can put in the location. That's a wonderful place to go. That's another professional secret. A lot of people don't visit the catalog enough. going into the wiki pages. Besides FamilySearch, what are some of your favorite other sites to get the actual records from?
So Ancestry, of course, is very good.
Yeah.
They've got really, really good coverage, and they're getting better all the time.
Yeah.
Find My Past is phenomenal for the UK.
Okay.
They've got some things there that isn't available on most of the rest of the internet.
And their newspapers are fantastic.
Their newspapers are the
Yeah.
best for the UK.
Yeah.
So that's really good there. There's another site that's a little bit more specialist, but they've got some phenomenal map tools. That's the Genealogist.
Oh, okay.
So one of the things about the Genealogist and Find My Past is they've worked really well with local family history societies.
Oh, good.
And family history societies can help you so much.
Yeah.
If you're not involved with them, if you don't know which family history society in the UK could help you, you need to look and spend a little time finding out what family history societies cover the area.
That's a great idea. Thank you. Any other sites that come to mind that you want to make sure that people? You probably have so many in your head, and I'm asking you just a few. But can you give us a couple more that you just really appreciate?
I think the one not to miss is the National Archives.
Oh yeah.
The National Archives gathers records from all of the UK.
And more are being digitized there too, which is really wonderful.
Yeah, and they're partnering really well with Ancestry and Find My Past, so they've done a lot of work with them to get the records digitized, but their discovery catalog, that's my favorite part of their website.
Oh, okay.
You can search their catalog and most of the archives and libraries throughout the UK.
Within their catalog.
In their catalog.
So their catalog will direct you then to other places that you weren't thinking about in another library or another archive or that.
So you can search for, say, a parish and get a list of records that are applicable to that parish at the National Archives, but it'll also point you to a record office in Essex or Cumberland that has something for that parish.
Okay.
So typically the parish would be found in a county out in the country somewhere.
Right.
The National Archives will have some records, but that county record office will have a whole lot more.
Right.
So this amalgamated search of library catalogs is just phenomenal.
Oh,
it's
that's
almost
great.
like one place to search.
One-stop shopping. Who hates that? Everybody loves that.
And
that's why Amazon's so popular.
Exactly. So that's a very good analogy.
Yeah.
And for instance, there are Irish records at the National Library of Wales.
Yeah.
And you can pick up on that kind of thing through discovery at the National Archives catalog.
That's fantastic. See, you're learning something new every day. If you're not, you got to watch more videos. That's wonderful. Well, any other final thoughts that you want to give everybody as they're researching?
There's always more. There are more sources available.
It's true.
It's just
don't give up, right?
It's stunning. Do as much work as you can online, but start now. Start today planning your trip.
That's true. It's so fun.
Because there's so much more there.
Yeah. And it's just fun to walk the streets, to be there where your family was. That's just, whether you're going to the UK or in the United States or anywhere in the world, right? It's just such a wonderful thing to walk in your ancestors' footsteps and see what they, see a little bit more about where they lived. But you're right, those record offices, like those county offices, right? You're going to be able to go in there, you're going to be able to ask for records, things like that.
And for instance, I'm planning a trip in a couple of months, and I found out that a local genealogist in the parish where my ancestors lived has turned his records in to a local family history society's library. And I've been there before, but he hadn't turned his material in at that point. And he had original documents like a midwife's register.
Oh my
and
goodness.
just all kinds of treasures that are held locally or by families.
Yeah.
You can get into that by making a visit.
Wonderful. I love it. Well, I hope this has helped you. Thank you so much for being here with me.
You're welcome.
I hope this has helped you figure out what you need to be doing to start your research in the United Kingdom, particularly in England and in Wales. And I wish you the best of luck. Here are the 2 videos that I talked about on the wiki pages and the guided research. They'll really help you as you're working to work your way through this process if you're not quite sure where to start. So good luck. Thanks.